Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. And I have another member of Church People on. I am so thrilled about this. Micheal Monks, not only was he on Church People, but he has been on film and television for years. And when I start looking at a lot of the shows that he's been on, I just can't believe it. Some of my favorite shows, and one of my favorite movies, of course, Church People. And he was the senior pastor of Church People. Micheal, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me and Pastor Skip on.
Pastor Skip. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do and why do you do it?
I am an actor. I also teach acting. I've been acting professionally for 35 years. I've been teaching sort of all my life, but I've been teaching acting for the last 22 years while I'm working as an actor. When I'm not working, I'm teaching. And it's kind of giving back. One of the things that I like to be able, that I bring to the table is that I am a working actor in the industry. And I wish I had had the opportunity to study with a working actor when I was coming up, because I had some great teachers, but they were not active in the industry at the time. And so what I try to do with what I teach is I'm always open to my students talking to me about career decisions, and often I can help them avoid potholes that I hit because I knew nothing about the business when I started in. So, but I do acting. I love it. I was sort of called to it in high school. I saw a production of Beckett's Endgame and that the theater department had put on, and I just was amazed at how available these people were emotionally in front of people, and that was not me. I was, closed off emotionally, and I was just sort of called to that because it was so real, so just available, making themselves available for an audience to be inspired by their performance. And it was exactly what I needed. And I sort of dabbled in it at college. I also have a construction engineering degree, which is what I graduated with, but I took acting classes there, and it really helped open me up just as a person due to some trauma in my youth that I had sort of closed down, and acting was the vehicle that sort of opened me back up to being available to people and in relationships. And so it was a very healing sort of profession for me. And I use that in my teaching for people to open themselves up, because the world makes us close down sometimes, and because of the things that happen to us and our circumstances. And empowering people through acting and the arts is something that really gratifies me and gives me great pleasure. So when I'm not on set acting, and I am teaching, so it's been very rewarding.
I was talking to somebody the other day about our walk, our journey with Christ and our journey on this earth, and I've often said it's a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not how you start the race, it's how you end it. And somebody kind of corrected me and said, well, it's not really a marathon either. It's more of a relay race. And it's time for us to start passing the baton on to somebody else. And I that's why I am, as an educator for nurses as well, is I enjoy passing that knowledge on to somebody else. And it sounds like that's what the Lord's laid in your heart as well.
Yeah, and I've taught a lot of my life. I've taught a lot of children's. I've taught Little League Baseball, Little League Football. I've taught martial arts to children. So I've sort of been a teacher all my life, just in different areas. And so it felt very natural when I was studying at the acting studio that I came from. It's called the Ivana Chubbuck Studios. That I studied with her about 6 months, and she said, would you be interested in teaching? And I thought, well, it just seemed like the next progression for me in this career. And I thought, if I don't like it, I can always quit. But that was 22 years ago. So I do love it. And it's great to be able to inspire people from what I have done and to help them reach the potential they want. And one of the questions I often get from young actors is they'll say, well, I'd really like you to let me know if you think I have a chance. And I say, if you want to do this, I will make you a better actor. And that's my job, whether that's this big, whether that's this big. But the point is, whatever you want to do, don't ever let somebody tell you what your passions or your dreams can be. If you want it, chase it, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
So it's that, inspiring people to chase what they love, And I say to my students, if you can do anything else and be happy, do it. If you can't, here we go. Let's go. Right.
There's that passion that we have to do, and no matter what we do, we have to have that passion to do it, don't we? Because when the going gets rough, it's the call on your life is the only thing that keeps you going, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's, in acting, what I teach is that characters are always seeking an objective from somebody for some reason. And what stands in their way is obstacles. And the desire to get over those obstacles and the difficulty creates the conflict, which is what's interesting to watch people overcoming things, right? We'll root for somebody to knock down 30 times. If they're getting up 31, we're like, okay, I'm for this person. She's getting back up. I'm ready for her. Let's go, right? And so we always want people to be inspiring to achieve something.
Yeah. The message that was in the movie Church People with your character as the senior pastor, really, I mean, it's such a powerful message and told in such a funny way. I mean, it's a hilarious movie, and if people haven't seen it, I promoted it and I've talked about it so much. But your character was like a lot of pastors today, just lost track of the message, right?
Yeah, it sort of the purpose of the message, I think, is even a better way to say what Skip lost, right? Because his intentions are to get the word out, but he's lost in the numbers or the spectacle or how it looks, or it's all about drawing attention back to him, which is where he gets a little spun. And as opposed to gifting this message to, help people rise up. And I believe those guys had told me, the writers, that every stunt Skip does was actually a stunt they had found a pastor had done.
Yeah.
So, and Skip does some crazy stuff.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with drawing people to church, but sometimes the process of drawing people, we get lost in that message, are lost in the message of bringing people to an understanding and strength in our walk with Christ.
And it, part of it is, while for a character like Skip, who's trying to put out the broadest scope of his message, but because of that, I feel like it got diminished, because again, it became about the vehicle as opposed to what was in the vehicle. And that's where he gets, and that's what I loved about the character, is that where he starts and where the arc gets back to that, purity for him of finding himself and why he originally did this and what it speaks to him and means to him and his purpose. I mean, literally almost every character in the movie is trying to find back their purpose again.
Yeah.
Because they're a little lost.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about them, because they're all so human.
Yeah. And that's the only kind of people God has to work with, is humans, right?
We're all from the same place, right?
Yeah. And I think I was sharing with Christopher or somebody else. I says, ministry wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't for church people, and so, but that's just the way it is. People are people.
Yeah. And of all walks, shapes, sizes, needs, desires, issues, again, they cast your bread upon the waters, because they're It goes everywhere, right?
God takes us the way we are. He takes us just as real as we are. And just no matter who we are, he takes us the way we are, but he also loves us enough not to allow us to stay that way either. And
It's always that calling. Come to
yeah,
me,
come
right?
to
I
me.
mean,
Yep.
the message is always to me of pure love. And it's like the pure love is grab a hold of this. It's here. It's always going to be here. And that's what keeps drawing people to it, to me.
Yeah. Amen. It's great. Well, I'm going to put your information down below.
Okay.
People are not going to believe all the list of things you've been in, and Bones and Cold Case and Young and the Restless, and I kept reading on, and I couldn't believe through the years all of the shows and things that you've been in. That's not near as important what you've done and what you're going to do as much as what God's doing through you. And I'm going to ask that my audience remembers you in prayer. When you think of the movie Church People, pray for Michael Monks. When you think of actors and you think of people passing on that message to the next generation, think of Michael Monks, and take some time and pray for my brother. Spend some time in prayer praying for him, that God would continue to bless him and put him right at the right place at the right time. God's got a plan, a purpose, and a hope for him, and as he does for you. And I want you to be praying for him. Thank you, Michael, for taking a few minutes.
Thank you. And thank you for that beautiful blessing. And it's been a pleasure talking with you. And I think it's great what you do, not only in your profession, but in your, spiritual quest. I think all of that is, beautiful.
Okay. And thank you all for joining us for Morning Moments. If you've liked this message, pass it on to somebody else and share it on your sites. And may God richly bless you.